Every day I wake up, wake your ass up.
The Breakfast Club.
Y'all finished or y'all done?
Yep, it's the world's most dangerous morning show, The Breakfast Club. Charlamagne the God, Jess Hilarious, DJ Envy is not in today, but Loren LoRosa is, and we got some special guests in the building. The cast of season 3 of Reasonable Doubt.
Yes.
How are y'all feeling, man?
Fantastic.
Joseph Sikora, McKinley, Freeman, and I always mess the name up.
Emayatzy.
Emayatzy.
Girl, he was messing up. You know he got a little lisp. So it was Lord.
How y'all feeling this morning?
We feeling fantastic.
Sure.
Excited to be here.
Man, season 2 of a scripted show is a very hard
Season
task.
3.
Season three. Yeah.
Of a scripted show is a very hard task. How does it feel?
Man, it's good to be working, I'll tell you that. And also to be
This
working with
climate.
such amazing collaborative people like Emayatzy and Joseph, Kerry Washington, Larry. It's been a blessing. So hopefully the fans love it because we definitely put the time in, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun. And so to get to do it 3 times, and to feel that love from the audience and everything, and then, meet additional just people who come on the show and bring great energy, it's been cool.
When have you not worked? When is the last time you haven't worked?
Right.
When is the last time you've not worked?
I've been super lucky and grateful to land in the Tommy role, but legitimately, Charlamagne, we were just talking about that it's like we started the journey when I was 37. I'm 49 right now, so it's like 12 years.
Not damn that 49 is old, but you just don't look 49. But damn, I wouldn't have guessed that you're 49.
Talk about how long you've been working, especially in that role, Power, right? How hard is it when you go into other sets for people not to just see Tommy all the time? Because
it's funny. I think that the Power show is so pigeonholed in a lot of ways that, like, when I was on Ozark, people had no idea. Like, the crossover audience wasn't there. However, on this is going to be the one where Tommy plays the lawyer.
Right.
Which is fine with me too, because it's so well written that Ramallah Muhammad does such an amazing job at making a 360-degree character that it's, regardless of how you feel about Bill Sterling, my character on season 3 of Reasonable Doubt, it's a different character and it's a real human being because she writes real human beings in real situations. Nice. This is only the second time in my career where I joined a cast where I was a fan of the show. Wow. I mean, I came from Michael Ealy. I stayed for Emayatzy. It's like she is everything that a number 1 on a call sheet should be. She's ultra prepared. She's ultra kind, and you can't put anything in front of her she can't tackle and conquer. So it's been amazing, and I learned a lot by being around her.
You know what? I wish people at my job would hype me up like that. That is amazing. You see what you just did there, Charlamagne?
Well, she's always on set, I'm sure, every day. Okay, she doesn't miss him a lot of days.
Oh, man.
Okay.
Oh, man.
All right, you're right.
It be the black man that do it to you.
He loves you.
You said something interesting, though. You said that, when you did Ozark, there wasn't a lot of crossover there. So I wondered, does that hinder you from getting certain roles? Because they feel like, oh, that's Joseph. People might think this is a, Power franchise spinoff.
I don't even think about that. I feel like my job as an actor, I don't think about that. And getting more and more into producing, those are some of the factors. I mean, I think you're spot on, Charlamagne, thinking that people love to categorize stuff because it makes it easy. One thing I've learned in this business is that nobody likes to work hard and everybody likes things that are easy. So I feel like to break out of the shell, you have to do both of those things. You have to do things that are difficult and you have to want to work. So that's all I do is I try to progress and keep working.
Dope. Does working on a Lost in the Show challenge y'all views of like the legal system?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, because for one, I've just learned a lot more about law, as each season has gone on, you learn a lot more. And again, the writing, it makes you kind of dive into that, but just the system as a whole, each season brings a new case. And with the new case, you have different challenges and, how the law is working with you or against you and those kinds of things, so it really does highlight that. And that's one of my favorite things about the show is that it makes people talk about it. It makes people talk about, the justice system and why it's working or why it's not. And that's, again, one of the benefits of the show. It's not just this simple legal drama. You have this woman who's a lawyer. There's so many more layers to it.
And oddly, like over the course of shooting the last few seasons, there's always been something interesting happening legally. So there's always something in the world where we're like,
they come together. Yeah.
So season 2 and season 3. So it's just definitely, shed a light on that topic for sure.
No, Emayatzy, the last season before this one, you end on like a high. You bring your friend home and all the things. And then this season opens and it's like you want more drama.
Yes.
But you also end the last season with a lot of drama.
Yeah. You understand. We as women, we want to have it all,
Yeah.
we want to have it all. I think Jax as a character, she is a woman who does thrive in a lot of ways on the adrenaline of things not going the way they're supposed to go. She likes the mess of all of that in her professional life.
Yes.
You know, but when it does bleed over into the personal, that's where things get a little tricky. But she's been missing that, you know, from the last season. She did get her girlfriend off and everything. And now she's just, you know, everyone's pleading out. There's nothing really happening. She likes to be in that courtroom, you know. So I can understand that. You know, at work, you want to feel like you are doing your best. And for Jax, she's at her best when she's in that courtroom, standing right in front of someone and letting them know how they're not. She's going to win this case. So that's where she wants to be. She lives in that space.
I've had conversations with my friends because of Reasonable Doubt, just about how, like, as women at work or Black women at work, we always feel the need to, like, be the, like, successor in the room, or we're figuring it out. Or how does your role and what you do going into this new season with all this new drama speak to you, that I need the mess because I need something to figure out so I can look like I'm accomplishing or really accomplish?
Well, see, I think it's almost the opposite. I don't know if I would say that I feel like Jax needs the mess to feel like she's doing something. I think it's more so she's already feeling like she's not valued at her job.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So she knows that she can get in these rooms and obliterate anyone who's in front of her, you know, and she really fights for the people, the clients that she believes in. So I think she wants to have more of those opportunities to do that. And when we open up in season 3, that's not where she is. You know, everyone is pleading out. She's kind of more so just in her office and that kind of thing. So she wants to have a bit more of the excitement so that she can make money for the firm, be her best, you know, show everyone what she's capable of. Because again, that's why she's a partner. You know, her name is on that building. So she's not at her best, just, you know, helping clients plead out in that kind of way.
You know, I always wonder, like, what parts of Jax resonate with you personally, and does that change from season to season? Does it feel like you're covering new territory?
Yeah, I discover something new about this woman each year, for sure. You know, every episode, it's like, oh, Jax, you know what I mean? It makes me have those conversations with myself. There are a lot of ways that we're alike, you know, in her ability to get things done. You know, she's about her business. She's very strong, straightforward. You know, I can relate to her in that way. The way she goes about it at times, you know, we may differ a little bit. You know what I mean?
She said may differ.
we may differ a little bit, you know, but that's the fun part of being the actor, is when you get to peel back all those layers and not judge this woman. Okay, why did she decide that she gonna stay with this man after he done went and had this whole side baby? You know, it's tough. It's tough, but it happens, and people do that all of the time. And so that's what makes it exciting.
Well, Emayatzy was telling me about the research that she did and found the group chats of these women whose partners had stepped out or had been given a little leeway.
Yeah, you find a side baby group chat. Like,
exactly. They're there.
Yeah.
They're there. I had to dig.
I was there. I did it. Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, side baby.
I didn't have a baby.
I
did not have no baby, but I got back with someone who had a baby while we were like in a weird space. And you do find that there are a lot of women who do it. They don't talk about it because you have to deal with people being like, well, why would you do that? But it's a whole community out there.
Yes, there is. And I had to find it because I couldn't make it make sense, but I can't judge this woman. We all, you know what I mean? And so when I found it, it made sense and I understood. And then I could portray it from a real perspective.
What was the reason? I want to know, like, what did you find in that group chat that you could tap into to say, okay, this is why I would take him back?
Oh, well, that's easy. I mean, you find that outside of there still being love there and all of that kind of stuff, it's more so things that other people may not understand. You know, they may not understand that I have history with this person and all these things. But beyond that, especially the women that I found that were married, you know, and this happened, not in just long-term relationships, they really felt like, you know what, I made this vow, I have children, I'm not going to let him take this whole thing down. And also, I believe this is a mistake, you know, and we can get through this. We can get through this, you know, and when you have marriage you have years invested in this, you can understand why people would feel like, you know what, I'm not going to throw this whole thing away.
And it's just not that easy.
It's not that easy.
To walk away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
McKinley, did you have thing? You had a thought? I felt that thought.
I've been a side person.
Yeah.
I've been the guy. I've been the guy that had a baby.
No. I think the thing is, it's just funny hearing Emayatzy talk about it, because I think about all the conversations that are had on set and in comment sections about Lewis and the baby and Tony and what's happening with Jax. And the thing that I find interesting is the divide, where there's a line that women won't cross, where it's like, oh, Lewis is wrong because he had a baby, not because he cheated. I'm like, wait a second. So I was gonna say Emayatzy. Jack spent the whole season with Michael Ealy. Then as the
But my point though,
but this is the thing
with Damon, not with Michael.
Exactly. But my point though is that, like, it's interesting to see how conversations evolve, because Charlamagne asked a great question. It's like, what do you look at this season that's evolved? And I think one of the things in this relationship is, like, how do you stand in the face of all the things that you've built up in terms of the ideas that what you will and won't do, and are you willing to knock those down to keep the thing that's most important, which is what you vowed with? So it's like, it's interesting to hear people reconcile their choices, but also still make the most of the present to recognize the opportunity they have to change things.
Yeah,
So
and this is the level of intelligence I have to deal with. I still come off like I'm smart. So
I often wonder if love really is the deciding factor in all of those things, right? Because if you really love the person, you probably would have been more careful. You wouldn't have cheated to begin with, right?
You can say that about a lot of things.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Charlamagne, go a little bit further on that. If she really cheated, what happened? If she really cared?
When women cheat, it's different. When women cheat, I got you, sis. When women do their thing, it's different.
Why?
That's convenient.
Hell
That's
no.
convenient.
Yeah, just because I love Jax, that's what I'm saying.
I love it too, but cheating is cheating. Man, woman,
Cheating,
other.
though.
Cheating is cheating.
Cheating. They were separated. You forgot.
Where's the
They
camera?
were separated.
This is what I'm talking about, Charlamagne. It gets
But
messy
this
fast.
the
don't it?
understand, like, we can't do that though. I
But
get
they were
it.
separated.
It's different
Pregnant
circumstances.
though, getting, have
Oh,
that
well.
mean you had
Oh,
raw
yeah, he was
sex?
dead wrong.
Now she pointing at me.
Dead wrong.
Lord.
Listen.
Okay,
But,
so
nah.
with the progression of the show, right, all the way from season 1, it seems like y'all were already, like, melted into y'all characters. Do y'all have anything to do with the, like, writing process, like after season 2 or anything like that?
Oh, well, we cannot take any credit for the writing. That's Ramla Muhammad and the fantastic writing room that she has assembled. They do all of the writing. What she does allow is room for it to breathe. If something doesn't come out of the mouth right, she's open to that, to changing and that kind of thing. But the base core of it, that's all. That's all.
She definitely allows us to settle into a true perspective for sure. And like, if something doesn't seem right in the words before we even get there, we can have phone calls and conversations we can have.
dope.
Yeah,
she
it's
makes
really
it such a safe space that I without naming names or looking at resumes or anything like that, she is so unbelievably open to saying, if you have a question, I just didn't totally trust it at first. She's like, is everything okay? I was like, yeah, you're so like open to this stuff, and yet so incredibly intelligent and a master storyteller that's still open to saying, like, maybe there's a even better way to do it. So she's incredible.
Because you find on sets they don't usually do that.
Right.
You stick to it. This is what I wrote. This is what it is. I love that though.
And Joseph, I know being on Power all these years has been a blessing, right? Amen. But do you ever feel like I don't want to? I love the character Tommy. I just don't want to get boxed in as the character Tommy.
Yeah, again, it's like I don't even think about that. Like I had spent so many years, as we talked about before, like 25 years in the business before I got the Tommy role. I got me out of that, paid my bills. I still love Tommy too because he's a complex character. And again, talking about writing, Gary Lennon, who writes the Tommy character for the Power 4 show and was the co-showrunner of the original Power show, is is a son of native New York, son of Hell's Kitchen, and he just writes such a real character and is it's endlessly entertaining for me to discover new parts about this character. And still, as a guy that comes from the theater, that's a classically trained actor and all that stuff, it's like I don't think about myself as being pigeonholed. And I think that that's the most important thing, that I'm like, I can still play Bill Sterling. I can still play Frank Jr. I can still be all of these other things. So in my mind, I don't feel boxed in at all. Even though if other people judge me, again, it's like what other people think about me is none of my business.
That's it. Because that's probably part of the gift. As an actor, you want to have a character that resonates with people, that they identify you with that, and that you can live with, and then still go on to do other things. But that's a part of the gift. Yeah.
There's probably more parts of Tommy there are more parts of me that are closer to parts of Tommy than parts of me that are closer to Bill Sterling. Not. Well, I mean, I think in terms of emotional, not dealing copious amounts of marijuana and wetting people up. That's it. But it's fun to try to stretch, to have a guy who was special forces in the Coast Guard and this wonderful backstory of going to Georgetown for law school and really kind of diving deep in there, and also losing kind of like trying to restructure my body and losing like 20 pounds for the character to be a guy who was in the military and trying to work out the way that people in the Coast Guard Special Forces would have, to see if that physically changes the body to the character, to let the vessel be something different. So it's a lot of fun. Great challenges.
McKinley, is it true that you started off in corporate America, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So you got into the industry late? Or?
Yeah, I got into late. I got a bachelor's degree in finance and an MBA in marketing and information technology. So I was working for like a Fortune 5 company, traveling around the world, building marketing programs, sales programs for stuff. And then I just started modeling and got bored.
Yeah.
And then that was kind of the introduction to it all. And then just kind of like Joseph was saying, I'm a bit of a student to everything, whether it's jiu-jitsu, acting, whatever. So I knew that there was a lot that I didn't know, and I just took it as an opportunity to kind of learn and see where it could go. But it's very much about, for me, it's like a lifestyle being present. Like, what is it that I can do today to get me closer to tomorrow, which will get me closer to my destiny? But yeah, but also not being afraid to pivot, you know.
Can you speak to that? Because it's like, you accomplished so much, right?
I don't know if I've accomplished so much.
I mean, from an educational perspective, definitely, right? So, but what is it in you? What's that nagging feeling that's like, no, you should be doing something else. You should be doing this.
I think there's a voice on the inside. There's a thing where it's like, there's a point where you can check all the boxes and things could be going right, but there's still something missing. And I think the voice of the whisper of something missing is louder than the screams of the things that you have. So for me, the opportunity is to kind of dive in there to see where it could go. Because to me, the biggest thing is Martin Luther King said the two greatest words, the two most powerful words in the English language are too late. So like, I don't want to get to the end and be like, damn, I wish I would have tried. So I'm gonna leave it all on the table, wherever it is, whether it's acting, business, whatever. But yeah, that the willingness to be free, and to see where the waves go. That's where I'm at.
McKinley, how important has it been, or was it, to show Lewis's like grieving process from the loss of his son?
Yeah, I think the grieving is hard anyway, and I think sometimes we all just kind of put it in the bag and keep moving, never really thinking about how much it weighs. And I think specifically for Lewis in this situation with grieving the loss of a son, there's a lot of things connected to that. I mean, we think about things in a vacuum, but one son is connected to another son. The Spencer's still alive. It's like, oh man, this young man could have grown up to be this age. And I think there's a weird stigma when it comes to expressing how we feel as Black men, and there's definitely weights that we're not meant to carry. And my biggest piece of advice is to put them down, because that weight could cost you your life. So I think for me, grieving, being honest about how a person feels, being present with our feelings, and learning to be a clear communicator of that, so that other people around are aware. To me, that's important. And it also makes you more of a vessel for other folks as they're going through stuff.
I've been exploring that a lot, right? Like, as a Black man, just as a man in general, I think the hardest thing for men to say is something hurt their feelings. And it's hard to say that to another individual. It's hard to look at another man and be like, yo, you hurt my feelings.
Well, I think the bigger thing is, I agree with that, but I think one of the things that's dangerous is camping in feelings. My bigger thing is, what is the foundation that the feelings come from? There's a root of it. What is the root? Because that root might not be something, my root may very well be something that we weren't meant supposed to have, right? Whether it's fear, insecurity, whatever it is, like, deal with the root of that, because then you don't have to deal with that area of the garden anymore once you get the weeds out.
And that space was a challenge story-wise on the show for Jax as a character to allow him to have the space to do all of that without her feeling some type of way about, well, did he really want to be with her? Is he really, all those questions, and realize it's not about you in that moment. It's really about him having this opportunity to grieve what happened.
Well, it's interesting, and that's actually how beautiful the story is. It is about me, and it's about us. So it's like sacrificing something for the bigger picture, even if it doesn't make the most sense on paper. Because we read scripts, and it happens just like when y'all see it, like, wait a minute, what's happening? Me and Emayatzy would be like, wait a minute, what is this? Where is this going?
Right.
So it's always fun, for sure.
Well, listen, it's the cast of Reasonable Doubt season 3 premieres September 18th.
Here.
Past the 18th, right? What's the 18th?
Thursday.
Tomorrow. Damn, boy, time be flying.
And I want to say, I did something for Reasonable Doubt.
Oh, yes, Jess is on Reasonable
Doubt.
Let's go. How many
I'm the
episodes
person
you do,
that you
Jess?
hear on the radio.
Oh!
I'm paying attention to the case. You know what I'm saying?
I love that.
I'm the voice that pays attention to the case. So
That's
y'all
so fly.
listen out for me.
Okay, y'all gotta
Go
make sure
on,
y'all
listen.
tune in.
Period.
Go on.
Yes. Period. Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Thank you very much.
Hold up. Every day I wake up, wake your ass up. The Breakfast Club.
Y'all finished or y'all done?